have a question to you. What are you seeing in the Southern Ontario climate when it comes to business owners, investment, the economy, people? Like, where are we in Southern Ontario right now?
I think a lot of people are worried. So primarily I deal with small to medium-sized businesses, local businesses, and a lot of these businesses are generational and they're doing well. But the biggest thing we talk about, the biggest thing we hear above and beyond, us handling their marketing, their radio advertising, their digital marketing, all that kind of stuff, is in most of my meetings, they're usually happy with what we're doing for them, but they're always like, we can't find this guy, we can't find this girl. And I don't know what's going on, and I don't know why that is such a problem, and maybe you could lend to that a little bit, but I think it is that like Canadian minimum wage keeps getting pushed up. Mm-hmm. And like those guys and girls that were at, $20 to $21, $22 an hour, they're not feeling the love.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Is that an accurate?
Yeah, it's funny because I had a gentleman who's like, I'm hiring for an office assistant. I said, what are you gonna be paying? And he's like, minimum wage. And it's funny, I'm in the recruitment business. You'd think I'd know it off by heart. And I was like, okay, minimum wage, like, so what is that? And he's like, $17, $18 an hour. Yeah. I was like, what? No. 17, 18 is minimum wage. And I'm like, wasn't it like yesterday it was 15, and the day before that it was 13, and the day before that it was 12, and I'm like, okay, 17 an hour, that adds up pretty quick. Like what is that when you annualize that? Can you pull up on the calculator? You got a quick calculator over there? What's 17 times that by 40 hours times that by 52? What does that give us as a salary range? 17 times 40 hours a week times 52 weeks. 35,360. So $35,000 is your minimum wage. That's a big pill to swallow, because for some businesses it's like it's $3,500 a month to get someone doing the bare minimum wage, right? Like, you're.
Hey, we're going to go back to the video in just a few seconds, but if you are a business owner and you are struggling with either recruitment, interviewing, hiring, retention, onboarding, I want you to go to cpgincorporated.com. You will be able to find our contact and our phone number right there that gets right to us. You'll be able to speak with someone right away to see if we can help you at CPG Recruitment. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get back to the video.
You're in the advertising business. You're going to quote me $3,500 for a marketing package on the radio, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It goes. I'd rather use, that money goes a long way in the right place, right?
It does.
So
it does.
It's an interesting time with wages, with cost of living,
specifically small business. I mean, not to get too political, but you have these large companies wrapping themselves in the Canadian flag, and they're using subsidized waging, which they're a big company, they're going to do that, but it's in turn crushing small business, and you see less and less competition in Canada, which is an issue. Less people opening businesses and so on and so forth.
And people forget, like, the average, like, I think it's 90% of businesses out there are small business, which small business, if we were to quantify, are businesses making like $250,000 to $500,000, $600,000 a year in revenue. Like, I would say,
is that what you're seeing?
That would be, well, I would just, you think of every small business, mom and pop, there's a lot of those, and there's a lot of businesses that are sitting in that revenue range of 300 to 600.
For sure.
Then you get into the next level, you get into like about the million, the 1, 2 million, 3 million. Then you get to the next step, in my opinion, which is 5 to 10 million, and on. But a good size of small businesses are that, call it $500,000 a year business, where a $35,000 cost is, that's $35,000. And so if you're running a 10% profit margin on a $500,000 business, that's $50,000. So one employee, that minimum wage is pretty much almost all your profit.
Yeah.
Right. So it is actually a very tight room, with the minimum wage being high, which then everyone else that's at 22, 25, they're not seeing a reward. It's pretty much everyone that's on the bottom is like, it's growing up. So it hurts more businesses than others. That's for sure. I used to have a lot of restaurants as my customers. Now they're not.
Why is that?
Well, because their cost is so high, they can't, they can't fork out any more money, right?
Yeah.
Like, think of what happened in the restaurant industry, where it used to be like the server wage. It's now minimum wage. Every server is making $17 an hour.
Yeah.
Plus the tips.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was like, I think 9, 10, 11 or something like that, right?
And you feel it in the prices of things too, right?
Yeah.
Like when you
So
go for
now
dinner.
that owner has to front all that cost. Like that's a big bump. That's, you know, if it was $10 an hour that I was paying and now it's 17, that's 70%.
Yeah.
More, 70% of it. So that's a big increase. Multiply, you have some restaurants have 200 employees. It adds up.
It does.
It adds up. What's $7 times that by 200 employees? What is that? That's 1,400. Yeah, 1,400.
So 7 times 200?
Yeah, it's 1,400 an hour. Your overhead just went up.
Yeah.
If you have 200 employees and you just bumped everybody up to that, that's $1,400 extra you're gonna have to pay per hour.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Most are working 10 hours, for example. There's
Yeah.
$14,000 a day that now you're upfronting on organizations that are like that, right?
Yeah.
Which then, go to a restaurant and try to spend $80 on a dinner for two. It's not happening.
Yeah.
When was the last time your bill was $80 at a restaurant for a dinner for two?
Yeah, it's not. It's 100. It's 160. And then
160
you get
all
into
day, and
booze,
you're-
and it's a little bit more. But yeah, I think a lot of these businesses too. Like I think the general perception of like business owners is that they have like unlimited funds. Like the general population, like the feel I get from kind of both sides is just from my own life experiences and stuff is just that business owners have like an unlimited amount of money or that they're like somehow greedy. I mean, at the end of the day, it's business and they're employing like a lot of people and they, you know, they're taking time away from their families and they're putting all the risk and the overhead on the line where the employees aren't doing that. So obviously the owner should be compensated more, but most of the people I deal with, they just really want to make it work, want to make their business work. That's like that's their dream.
I went to a conference called the Vault Conference, ran by a gentleman called Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah, I love Patrick Bet-David.
Yeah, so I went to the conference. It was this September 9th to 11th. And one thing I really appreciated, there was 8,000 people there. And he put on a little speech, just a brief moment. He said, you know, if there's two types of people in this room, there's the entrepreneur and then there's the people that are in here that the entrepreneur brought, because people brought their teams. And he spoke specifically to those that the entrepreneur brought, so all the employees. He said, I want to remind everybody that entrepreneurs, they do things in the background that you don't know. The entrepreneur will wear a face every single day to make sure he gives certainty to his employees that everything's okay. But deep down, 99% of the time, that entrepreneur had to leverage their home, had to leverage a line of credit, had to leverage some form of debt to make sure that the employees are paid first and he's paid last.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
he's like, just acknowledge. He spoke to them directly. In that moment, actually, I shed a tear in that moment because I was that guy at one point. I was sitting there. I was like, how the hell did he know?
Yeah.
And part of me was like, I'm not alone. It's not only me. Thank God, right? But you know, I really appreciated for the first time in my life someone actually like in a large audience on a large scale was like, hey, employees, just a reminder, like take it easy on your boss. You don't know what he's doing in the background. He's smiling every single day, but you don't know what he just pulled from where he got that money to make sure that you get paid every single week. And we're putting a
100%.
lot on the line. And it is that's how severe it is. It does go that far.
I
very common.
always talk about this with my girlfriend. She's a business owner. I'm in sales. I would consider myself what's called an entrepreneur. So a little bit different, but working in a 90% commission based role. It's no one's
Same thing,
handing anything over to me. But we always talk about the employee side of it and how they should be a little bit more understanding. Like if you're late, okay, it is what it is, right? You want forgiveness on that, which is totally fine. What if we're late on payroll?
I know.
What if we're late on payroll? What's going to happen there?
Yep.
So yeah, I think I don't know where I was going with that, but
we'll remind
you know what I'm
everyone. Hey,
saying.
listen,
If
we're
you're
always
out there
on time for
listening.
something. We're always on. What if? If you're, for the employees that are out there that are thinking of calling in sick, just imagine if your boss called in sick on payroll day. How would you feel?
Yeah.
And it's that feeling times 10 for when a business owner is trying their best to make a business survive, grow, and flourish. At so many levels. I even see this at a level that when they are making millions of dollars, it doesn't mean they're free and clear. Like they're still in the grind of things, and just employees just need to just once in a while just remember, hey, I'm here. I made a promise to be a great employee. Let me just say to my word and do my part. Right.
From what I've seen too, like any business that's making like a substantial amount of money, they're not sitting on that money. Usually they're reinvesting that money into a multitude of things.
Yeah.
And, whether it's marketing, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's a new POS system. So, a lot of respect. Yeah. A lot of respect out there.
I had even, as my business has grown, now it's new expenses. I'm not used to, so I'm realizing this is my first time at all of this at this level. I had to, get a really good bookkeeper that I was like, really outline where my money goes because, as revenue comes in, I'm now at a point where it's like, okay, where am I allocating it?
Yeah.
I can't just be like, oh yeah, just pay this, and whatever anymore. Like now it's actually really starting to get more methodical. And I'm now starting to understand, how important budgeting is, right?
It's very
Before
important.
I used to be like, yeah, we have the money, just buy it, this, that. But then until I didn't have the money for something important and I was like, oh shit, hold on, I got to start budgeting. There's too many pieces, right?
For sure.
And overhead creeps up on you. But no, the game of business is really, really fun. And for me, my world is I'm meeting business owners that are like, I just need to build the right team, like find the right people and like grow in the company. And they could never find that great person, that talent, whatever it may be. And that's when I get looped in. So it's definitely, especially in Southern Ontario lately, the conversation's shifted from I can't find people to now it's like, I don't know if now is the right time to hire. Like I've been hearing about hiring freezes lately. I've been seeing more of that. Hiring freezes and more of even businesses that were open 5 days a week, they're open 2 days a week now.
Yeah.
If they're especially impacted by economical things that's out of their control, political things that are out of their control.
For sure.
So
for sure.
Have you been hearing anything? Like you're in the ad selling business. Have you been starting to sell different products to accommodate to price point, to cost? Has that shifted? Has that gotten to you yet?
We primarily we have 13 radio stations from Sarnia, Wingham area down. And our primary business is small to medium-sized businesses. And
so, when times are good, people are spending. When times are rough, people are holding. Are you from a civil perspective seeing that you're getting more like not yet, more?
I think the sales process is taking a little bit longer where it was, 1 month to get an answer. Now we're 2.5 months.
Okay.
And I think people are they're creatures of habit. And I think they're going to sit on their hands a little bit more when there's like all this uncertainty swarming around them.
Sure.
We just almost popped off into another election and so on and so forth. And I think business owners get really shaken up by that.
Yeah.
And, they may not want to commit to a large marketing campaign with the uncertainty of, they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But we're also in that part where a lot of generational businesses, window companies, anything more big ticket, they still want more and they still want to grow their business. So like for a lot of people, like especially when the tariffs came in, there was a couple weeks there where it was like, and then I think a lot of people came to the realization very quickly that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We still my business still needs to run. I still need to operate. I still need to grow because if you're not growing, you're dying essentially.
100%. And, to that point is like, I've been seeing the guys that have been untouched with all this, your residential plumbers, anything that's like an emergency that must happen, they're untouchable.
Yeah.
I've got a great friend of mine. He's a plumber and the guy is like nothing, whatever. He was telling me, he's like, I got no social media. I got no news. I'm good. For me, I'm just a plumber. I get my calls and they never end. They never end. Whether whoever the president is, it doesn't matter if the toilet's leaking. They don't give a shit.
So are you trying to get him to scale up his business?
Well,
or just have a conversation?
No. What my point is that there's so many industries that are untouchable, and I think like home service businesses, those are the guys like so. Guys in my position, for example, I'm in the recruitment business. If I'm going after an industry that is on a hiring freeze, I'll go out of business because then I'll be chasing after money that isn't there.
Yeah.
So I've learned to pivot on like learning who's always winning, who's winning in that period in time. And, for me running a recruitment company, I would be going after anything like construction, but specifically like even residential construction or anything from home services, not Not pool companies. Those guys are slow. No one's spending money on a pool, but they are spending money on, hey, they need to do something electrical or plumbing in their home that's a must fix, not a renovation.
Yeah.
Those must fix guys are untouchable. They're always looking for good guys. And what a great opportunity right now to find people. Certain aspects in manufacturing that's geared towards like food or manufacturing. Like I've always done manufacturing, but people must remember like manufacturing, you could manufacture food, you can manufacture toilet paper, you can manufacture many things. Automotive is extremely quiet, extremely quiet. And the only guys that are doing good in our area are the ones that are touching on medical devices or touching on things that aren't impacted by an automotive vehicle, for example, right? Like necessity products.
Right.
So I've learned there are continuous winners in a different economy, but definitely it's narrowed down. Like right now is a time where it's showing some, businesses are closing up in certain aspects. I heard something like 43 restaurants closed down in Windsor in the last year.
I could see that.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard that from a restaurateur as part of a restaurant association. Yeah. He was like, this year 43 restaurants closed.
I love restaurants. I'm a big fan of restaurants. I'm at a different restaurant every other day. It's a scary business. It's a scary business. From a marketing standpoint, very difficult business because their return on investment is just so small. So again, just like you, we're trying to go after those recession-proof businesses. Because the ROIs are a lot higher. So if they're spending $1,000 and we can get them $2,000 back, we're winning, and that's our biggest thing. But yeah, restaurants are scary. But shout out to all the restaurants out there.
I know, right? They're battling away. I've got another good friend of mine has a restaurant. He's a very good friend of mine, and he was telling me, he's like, I'm thinking I might have to pull something out of my house to keep my employees going. Like these conversations are happening right now. This conversation was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, right. Like these are real. When a year ago, the guy's driving an Escalade, he's pimping, he's loving it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
The swing is, I guess for those, going to a restaurant, make sure you leave a tip for the owner too. Not just the server. It's, but also here's another fact that I heard was I have another friend who is he sells like toilet paper and soaps and all this stuff. And he does a lot of work with the municipalities. And he's like, and I was like, what are you seeing? Because I know he goes to every business to stock up toilet paper, hand sanitizer, whatever the heck it is. I said, who the ones that are busy, they're going through it a lot. And he's like, I am shocked. First time I've ever seen this. Municipalities are hurting. And I said, how so? He's like, no one is taking their kid for an ice skate and to spend $10 to go skate on ice, then spend another $40 on Cokes and fries and burgers. Like people aren't doing that. The skating rinks are significantly lower right now as far as attendance than he's seen before. And he's like, I could tell because we don't need to stock up the bathrooms as much.
Yeah. The
economy, I was like, interesting.
The economy is definitely slowing. And I think, you can talk to the unemployment rate and stuff like that. And also just like the average household income. Like we're talking about, the math we just did back there was $35,000 on minimum wage, working 40 hours a week. Yeah. The average single take home in Windsor is $55,000. Yep. And the average like dual income in Windsor is $89,000, $88,000, which is scary.
It doesn't buy you much.
No,
$89,000 before tax.
Yeah, before tax. Yeah.
So really, it's like 60 on the high end. And, and to that point, there was even I'll give real life numbers. My home that I bought when I was 23, it would have been the year 2016. The price tag was $320,000. Okay, 4,000 square foot home, 4-bedroom house, 7,000 square foot property, $320,000, Windsor, Ontario. That house today is $1.5 million within a 10-year time frame. Okay, I was with a friend of mine last week. He lives in Grosse Pointe, right across the water there, Detroit. Coincidentally, he's like, I bought my home for $320,000 as well. It was just, I think he was like $325,000. It was just within the right price at the same time frame. He bought in 2017. I asked him, I said, how much is that home today? He said about $550,000. So I was like, there's the problem right there. In Canada, that house 5x'd in value. Yeah. $300,000 to $1.5 million, that's $315,000. That's 3 times 5 is 15. 5x'd. In right across maybe 2 kilometers from here, on the other side of the border, that house went up from 300 to 500. So that's maybe, but what is that? It went up at 200 grand on 300. So that's about a 30%, 40% increase.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is a healthy increase. That right there is what's explaining every problem that Canada's having right now, because your wage didn't 5x.
No.
Your wage maybe went up 5% a year, we would keep up with what.
That's just housing costs.
That's just housing costs, but
you have a 26% inflation rate since 2019.
It's yes, and that's being generous, I think.
Yeah,
that's being very, very generous.
That's like the calculated number, but
the calculated number.
we know who's doing those numbers.
Yes. So the problem is, okay, inflate the numbers, great, because we can go back even you can go back 30 years from that house that I bought. I remember when I bought that house. That house was built in 1999. I looked at the price what it was in 1999. It was sold for $90,000, and 16 years later, I bought it for $320,000. So you can always go back in time. But what was happening in time is that wages were going up, like in correlation to expenses and inflation.
For sure.
The problem that Canada has had, and where it broke over the last few years, and that's where it's been very difficult to fix, is the inflation was so astronomically high that I can't ever see how income will ever catch up to it.
Yeah, I think the wealth disparity is going to continue to grow, but I think that, a couple key takeaways is that, like, companies aren't hiring like they used to. My nonno came here from Italy, landed in Montreal, came down to Windsor. You could take your pick with a grade 5 education, could take your pick on where to work at any of these massive companies, GM, Ford, Chrysler.
People were hiring. Like, my dad came barely spoke English in 2020, was a mechanic, had a job. I remember he got a job within 2 weeks of being in the country. Like, let alone actually growing up in the country or anything like that. Now I see these newcomers are coming to me, and they've gone for months. Months, in some cases close to a year or 2 years to find something.
What I think that's going to do, though, is people are going to be less reliant on major corporations, and they're going to start opening their own businesses. And I think that's going to be the savior.
Yep. Well, you know what's been saving newcomers is Uber, Instacart, Amazon deliveries. Like, literally, that's what they do for work. Now is no one's hiring them, so they get an app, and they make an account, and they start their own business out of their car. Like, that's literally what's been helping out. And I know this because I used to work at an Amazon depot. I had 8 drivers myself delivering Amazon packages every day. Out of that facility, there was 130 people that were delivering, subcontractor, out of their own van, and they were all Middle Easterns, Indians. They're all newcomers, wherever they came from. And that was what they were doing for a living.
I can appreciate the hustle.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but that's the only choice they had. I had guys that were working for me. They're like, I'm an accountant, but they came out of Argentina, and they're like, I can't find a place to work. Or they're a plumber in Iraq, and no one's hiring them over here. They're very, very smart people.
I think the Canadian promise overpromised. I think there's a lot of disgruntled people there. But
yes. There's. I see it 100% of the time, because I talk and I ask questions to people directly. I've asked people that are newcomers, and I've point blank said, "Tell me, like, we immigrated here ourselves 25 years ago. I'm like, did you get what they told you were going to get from whatever country you were coming from?" And they're like, "No."
Yeah. So you immigrated here?
Yeah, I was 8 years old from Lebanon. I was born in Lebanon. In 2000 we came. My dad was a mechanic. My mom was a stay-at-home mom.
Nice.
So, and within a year, my dad bought his first home.
Yeah.
Like, it was truly the dream. Within a year working as a mechanic, it was in
Canada was
Toronto.
The dream for sure.
His first home, it was in Mississauga.
Yeah.
And his first home was $200,000, and it was a 3-bedroom, full-size 3-bathroom home. Like, I grew up, and we didn't have to rent our basement in order to make payments. We didn't have to do that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
We didn't have, now it's like a norm of, the basement, you can rent it out and all this stuff, because you can't afford to have the whole thing. So but the point back on the job side of things is that, there was definitely an overpromise of building a life for you over here. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
It's hard enough as is if you're already in the country to build a life here because of what happened over the last 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like, our generation too is like, I just turned 35. I think, like, the millennials and, the Gen X, I think, like, they're some of the most hardworking people in the past little while. We look to our parents as the most hardworking, but I personally think, like, we work longer hours. We didn't have the gravy train of, you know, the big three and, you know, these huge pensions and all these, you know, dental and health coverages. That's all minimized. Pensions are essentially gone in big business.
Yep.
It's not like it was. So that being said, I just think that we work very, very hard, and where we're going to be from that in 10 years, I'm excited to see, because I think that the country is going to turn around, and I think people our age are going to make a difference 100%.
I think so. There's a lot of, because I'm 33, there's a lot of our camp that's seeing something where, because I think our age is very, very critical, because we saw in our early 20s how good it was. Like I said, 23, I bought my first home. A massive house. This house was sick. Okay. People thought I was a drug dealer when I bought it. I was making 80 grand a year. I was working as an engineer, and it was at 320. I put 10% down. So I saved up $32,000 to put down on the house. And my payments every single month was $1,200 was my mortgage payment.
Yeah, it's great.
Like when did you buy your first home? Do you have a similar story, like in your 20s?
25, yeah.
You were 25. How much was your first home when you bought it?
$148,000.
$148,000. Yeah, and you know it's funny. I was when I bought my home for 320, because I came from Toronto and I moved to Windsor, and the Windsor market was totally different than Toronto. 320 for me was a steal. I remember everyone was telling me, "What do you just bought a $320,000 house?"
Yeah, 100%.
They're like, "Are you crazy? You should have bought something for 150." I was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I just came from Toronto. You can't find anything for 320." I'm like, "This is a steal." Right, so my mindset was a little different. I went the full like family home, the whole thing. I skipped the starter home step, and everyone was calling me nuts at the time. And but you know, to your point, like my point that I was getting at is us being 33. We had it. It was like yesterday. You bought that first house, and it was relatively easy for you, I would imagine, for you to buy that house.
Yeah, it was good.
Try doing it again today. If you were 25, could you buy that house?
Yeah, you got to work a lot harder for sure.
Right? Like that same house at 150, how much do you think it's worth today?
It's worth, it's probably got to be worth around 480.
480. So 480, you'd have to have at least money saved up to put a down payment. If you're going off 20%, that's $96,000.
Yeah.
You need
Plus
to have
closing
saved
costs, well, you get to save. It's your first house, but you're 100 grand all day.
You're 100 grand all day that you must have in your pocket. You had how much in your pocket to buy that house?
Like 30 grand, 20, 30 grand?
20, 30 grand, you had, which is relatively, that's very achievable to get.
Yeah, for sure.
Living at home, you could work, you could work and save that up within a year's time.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, mama's taking care of you, stay at her house, you save up 20 grand, you put your money down, and your mortgage payment would have been like $600 a month, and you were good.
Even from 2019, like if you're making 100 grand in 2019 and you're still making 100 grand in 2026, like you have a 30% inflation increase.
It's equivalent to you making 70, but really it's even less because, your buying power has gone down significantly, right?
Yeah, it's difficult.
I guess back to the point is that like we saw it when it was easy, and now we see it when it's hard. Whereas if you're in your 20s, you didn't see it when it was easy. You saw only the hard part, right?
Yeah.
So for me, that's where I'm passionate about. Where I'm like, wait a minute, like it was just yesterday where this life was pretty straightforward. Now it's gotten a little bit more difficult for no reason. Explain to me what the hell happened here. So I think that's where the voices will start coming.
Yeah.
Right? Like no one could move my opinion on this because I got to live it when it was good. And then we let other people handle it. They made it difficult.
Yeah.
And now, if anything, Jesus, I had an easier time living when I was 24 than it was when I'm 33, turning 34.
Yeah.
There's something not right with that. So that's where getting vocal, you know, I think it's going to come from a place of experience rather than just being vocal for no reason. So I think you're right. You know, the next 10 years will be interesting if guys like us step up a little bit and do something. Like what the heck could we do? Like where do we start? That's a complicated. That's a tough one. I don't know where to start. Like where do we start? Where you either for me, I'm a math guy. So you've got high costs, low income. Either high costs have to go down or income has to go up. I think we've been trying the income going up. That's not working because that just drives costs higher.
Yeah.
But then how do you go to a guy that currently his house is worth $1 million and then you tell him, no, it should be worth $500,000. Let's take half of your, like, how do you do that?
So I would say
depression.
to anybody listening, work in your circle of influence, not your circle of concern, and get into sales or open a business and make as much money as you can for your family, not to only have nice things, but to have an easier life and, you know, to take care of your family at the end of the day.
That's honestly, that's such a great point because I'm in sales and I'm in business too. It's every day you show up and you could if you put in a little bit more effort, you could make more money.
Yeah.
Let's talk about security a little bit. The people that don't go into sales, commission-based jobs, and don't go into starting a business is because they don't feel that secure. That's the only reason why if you're going to work for pure commission, it's purely you want the security. You want the safety net of a salary. But how much of a security has it given you so far?
I mean, it's the best job in the world.
Right?
It's like it's amazing. I think there's also this stigma about salespeople, and I hate that because even starting in sales, I had that same kind of feel like, ooh, like am I doing something wrong? And that's not the case, because when you realize selling is helping and you actually believe in what you're doing and what you're selling, like it becomes easy. It becomes a lot easier. Not easy, but.
So for what you do for a living, how do you help people? What's the help? Because you're absolutely right. The way I sell is because I helped.
Yeah.
You're in the person who's buying. The person who's buying from me is the guy who had a problem and needed a solution, and I just happen to be the guy that's there saying I could fix it for you. So, for you, like, how do you help your customers every day?
We help them by scaling their business. If you talk to anybody, they want to grow. Any business, that's the first thing they'll say is like, we want to be busier, we want to grow, and with a solid marketing campaign, you can slowly grow your business. Nothing is a magic pill. If you're a business owner listening to this and somebody comes to you and promises you the world, take a second look, run the other way. Yeah. It doesn't work overnight. And my strategy is very, very simple. I work on a return on investment strategy. So I come to you, what do you make per customer? And then we take that and break it down. So let's say you make, for rough numbers, $5,000 a customer. We're going to start with $5,000 per month and see how many people you're going to hit, and then work backwards from that. So if we get you 2 people a month, 2 new customers a month, you're 100% return on your investment. Yeah. You're making 100% of what you invested. I mean, I'm happy with, 10% with my money in the market. So
hell yeah.
If we can get somebody back 100% of their money and help them slowly and strategically scale their business while also providing long-term branding, it's perfect. I mean, it doesn't always work out like that, but with good creative and good content, it will. And if you're a small business and you're looking to market and you always think, what should I do? Start with that return on investment strategy. Also look to see where other businesses that have done the research are advertising. Where national and agency, where's the LCBO marketing? Where's Caesars Windsor putting their
because they know
billboards.
Where the right stuff is.
They've done the market research, and you can follow those. You can follow those companies around, and not mimic their marketing. Come up with your own angle, because no business owns the market; they own the angle. They own the angle.
2 points I got out of that tips I really liked was, one is ask yourself, how much is a customer worth to you? What do they spend?
That's the biggest thing.
Once you know that, it's okay. If I spent that same amount in marketing and got 2 customers, I just doubled. And that's a nice tip to simplify.
And not every business has like that instant return on investment. Let's say you run a gym, okay? Then we're going to start talking about customer lifetime value, CLV. So they pay $100 a month, but I can, as the gym owner, I can keep that, I can retain that customer for 2 years. Yeah. So now they're not worth $100 a month, they're worth $2,400.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
When you have lower ROIs, you most likely have
to see how many times they come back. Even restaurant, what's the average spend, but not just one time, but how many repeat customers that you're getting, right?
So I guess what we run into mostly with smaller businesses, and we're talking like small business, we're not talking like mom and pop shops here. We're talking, anywhere from 20 to 200 employees. Yeah. They want help. They want to know what to do. So I think starting with that return on investment strategy, that customer lifetime value strategy, and working with somebody you trust with, good creative and a good angle, it's gonna pay dividends. But it takes time.
I love to give that confidence of follow what the big guys are doing.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
I think there isn't anything in my business I invented. I got it from someone else that proved it.
Of course.
Like, I think that's truly what the great ones do. Like, they think of it may look new, it may look different, but it's a copy of a different industry in some way, shape, or form, right? So
Like I didn't come up with the return on investment strategy.
Yeah, like you saw that from somewhere, and it's sometimes it's like, hey, just relax. Just what's the person that you want to become? What's the company that you want to become? What are they doing? And just you do a copy, but with your own angle, with your own twist, right?
I think the biggest thing in marketing as well is managing people's expectations, right? Like if you don't work on a strategy that makes sense and is dollarized, like a return on investment strategy, like if you spend 1,000 and we get you 2,000, we're winning. Their expectations might be out of whack. Yeah, they might think, oh, I'm spending $1,000 on Facebook, and people should be, beating down the door essentially.
Yeah. You know, that's a very good point you bring is managing expectations, because everyone's like, oh, I'm going to spend something. I want to see it now. And I've always respected anyone who's in the marketing space that says, here, let me just give you reality. Yeah. Like this is what we have to do over time. Absolutely. Versus, tomorrow you'll get door knocks, right?
Marketing's a funny girl, because it'll poke holes in your business as well. It'll expose the weak points as well. So let's say we start getting you more business. Mm-hmm. Well, if these people are not having a positive reaction with your business, they're leaving bad reviews, you don't have enough people, you're not following up with leads. I have one other stat. The average business in Canada and the United States doesn't answer leads within 24 hours.
Really?
Lead should be answered within the first 60 minutes, 120 minutes. Yep. And I put minutes to
be
make it more attractive.
It comes in right away. You should.
We have minutes until, like, when people are ready to buy, they're ready to buy. Mm-hmm. And I think that's very, very important. Like when I get a lead, I'm following up with it in the first hour, 100%. I'll pull my car over. I'll make sure that they're followed up with, they're connected with in some way. Send an email back. I like to talk on the phone because I think it's a little bit more genuine. But
it's funny. It's all connected, because though I'm willing to bet that those people, those businesses that aren't answering leads within the first few minutes, it's taken a few days. It's probably because they didn't have the right employees or enough employees to pay attention to it, to then take care of it right off the bat. It's probably a scenario where the business owner's running around wearing too many hats. Yeah. And you then, as a business owner, you play of like, I can't afford an employee, but I have leads sitting there. I can't get the leads. It's like, what comes first? Hire the employee, build the infrastructure, handle the lead. And the money's in the lead, though. If we got the lead, that gives the money for the employee. Like it's a constant
100%. And
back and forth.
I feel like we share the same, not ailment, but I think we share the same talking points with clients, because I'm also trying to discover these things when I'm talking to these businesses preemptively. Mm-hmm. So if they have a staffing issue, if they have other marketing issues, like they can't be found on Google or something like that, then radio marketing, digital marketing is going to be very, very tough. Because what's the first thing when you hear a radio ad?
Look them up.
You look them up on Google, right? You don't call them anymore, right? So, and I think you do that as well. You look at their whole business, and not just, hey, I'm trying to sell this person something. And I think that's where selling is helping, because you're not only helping them with a marketing issue or with a staffing issue. I like to try and help people with anything going on in their business, and it's usually marketing related.
It's funny you bring up the Google thing. That reminded me exactly to your point. I had someone coming in, and business owner, he's like, I need to hire 6 people. And naturally you're like, hell yeah, let's go. Like sign the dotted line. Let's do it. I looked up the business and I'm like, dude, I can't help you. Like, I can't help you right now. I went and like his Google was a picture of a brown door on this warehouse that was like, it looked so ghetto, and there was no website. There was nothing there. I'm like, you want me to find you? Like, the people that got to find you, they're very high level, like $120,000 a year employees, where I'm like, I got to headhunt them and take them from another company. Yeah. And all I have to show is when you look them up is you have a broken website and a brown door on Google. Not good. And I'm like, we need to change all of this. I said, before you spend money with me, I need you to go fix this stuff. And I said, our team can help you, right? But to that point of, it's not just the salespeople that have a bad rep are the ones that take the money and try to make a solution when it's really not the right time.
That's an amazing point. I was just going to say that the most powerful the most powerful word in sales is no. Yeah. Because if you sell somebody something that they don't need or they're not ready for, it's not going to work for them. And at the end of the day, you're not going to look very good. You're going to look like a person that sells something that doesn't work. That's what you don't want.
In reality, those people will respect you so much that they'll come back after 3 months when they're ready saying, you know what? you know, Stephan was very honest and straight up with me, and I'm going to give him the business this time. And this time, when they call you back, they're calling to just give you the business. There's no more selling, right?
Yeah.
Because you throw them a bone the first time, or give them some good advice, or help them get prepared for it, right?
Yeah. By saying no, you're helping them.
Yes.
You are helping them.
Yeah.
They're not wasting their money at this point. You're identifying problems that they can work on. Maybe you can refer them off to somebody. Maybe you have a website guy, or maybe, you know, you have a photographer that can come help them out for a little bit and get their findability up, right? So, yeah, I completely agree.
I really want to go back to the point of like getting people in either sales or starting a business. I really feel like we should sell that a little bit more. and because I think it really is the solution. Like, you know, if I still had that same job that I did 10 years ago, I could tell you, like, I remember when I was working at Chrysler, there was a tier system of how your wage went up year over year. So at the time when I first started with them, it was $71,000. Fast forward 10 years at 5% year over year, I would be making right around 100 by now. Right around, maybe even less than that, probably about 90-ish, 95, because they were very strict with how they progressed you wage-wise. So, you know, for me, people go back saying, I want a safety net, a salary as security. They equate salary to safe and secure, okay? I don't think that's correct. I don't think that's accurate, personally.
Helping is the bright side of control. So, I mean, yeah, I work for a company, and some people might look at me and saying, Steph, you should go start your own business. But I personally feel like I have my own business. So
you do. And that's what I'm talking, commission sales
100%.
and entrepreneur together. So entrepreneur commission sales like you and full-blown business, it's to us, we got to
the
go
same
work
thing,
for our money, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But what I'm addressing is the people that are purely on, here's what you get paid.
Yeah.
I don't think there's nothing secure about that job. People equate, I want a steady, secure salary as security. I think that's the biggest false hope, because at any point in time you could lose your job and you go from 65 grand to zero. Mm-hmm. That's one. Two is at any point, which we saw in the last 5 years, inflation will creep up and your salary won't keep up, and you've got no other way of making extra money.
Absolutely.
So there's really no security to it, versus every salesperson and every entrepreneur over the last 5 years, our revenues grew as inflation was growing, as the market was growing. We were just constantly hunting for the next thing. Like if you actually just put your mind to it to accept, hey, I'm going to go make my own money. Yeah. You'll make money, right? Like how long have you been on a commission-based role? For how many years?
10 years.
10 years. I'm about the same. I started my company, I think it was 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
And have you ever felt unsecured?
You may
have had some bad months. You may have had some bad months,
yeah,
and it happens. Where it's like, oh shit, those were tough. But even with a salary employee, if I was working on salary and then Christmas, trust me, everyone on salary is going to have a bad month coming December, because they're going to spend a lot of money on a lot of presents, money they don't have, and they're going to rack up their credit cards, and they got to work the next 3 months to pay back their credit. Everyone's having a bad month. 100%. I'm good with bad months, but as far as bad years, where you're like, oh, I got to sell off everything. I don't know your background, but I'm sure you didn't have to go in that aspect. Like, it's relatively secure.
Of course, yeah.
Over time, because you put your mind to say, I'm going to grind away, I'm going to work. And you didn't work. Did you work 120-hour weeks? You didn't kill yourself?
No.
Your average 40, maybe a busy week for you was maybe 65, 70 hours.
Yeah.
But you had fun doing it.
Of course.
You loved it. And probably a busy week for you was wining and dining a lot of customers.
Yeah.
I would imagine. So it was a lot of entertaining.
I need to be moving anyways. So like my legs been jiggling this whole time. So I need to be moving anyway. So I don't mind.
To me, I'm like, what's more secure than your own personal will?
100%. Any business can turn off the lights, like Stellantis, GM, you name it. Any feeder plant, in Windsor, Ontario can flick the lights off and move to the States at a drop of a hat. So I think, securing your future, like you got to be here anyways. You got to work 8 hours a day anyways, minimum. You might as well make as much money as you can. Yourself. Yeah. 100%.
Because even let's say the organization you're a part of, they close doors tomorrow. Your personal will, like you,
I'm opening my own business.
You're going to be like, yeah, sure. Maybe for about a week, you might stress out for a little bit, being like, I got to figure out some new arrangements, all this stuff. But as far as like, yourself, your own personal will, like, I got this. I'll figure this out. I'll make my own money.
Yeah.
Right. That, to me, knowing who you are and believing in yourself is the biggest security you can give. If you don't have belief in yourself, don't get a sales job.
For sure.
Do not start your own business if you don't believe you're capable. That's something not a lot of people could come out and say, but a lot of people. My dad started his first business when he was 55 years old.
Nice.
Lebanese guy, immigrant to the country, been in the country for about 10 years. 2008 happened. He gets let go where the whole crisis. He was a mechanic. And he said, okay, time to have my own thing. And he started off, he started a mobile repair business. So these truck and trailers that are on the side of the road, they're coming from Texas. They end up here in Windsor. They break down.
Yeah.
There's no shop. You call a guy and the guy comes and parks behind you on the highway. They put the pylons, they fix it. That was his business.
That's a good business.
The guy started that at 55 years old and crushed it. Made more money than you could imagine. It's out of personal will. He said, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. That's like Ray Kroc, man. McDonald's popped
Yeah,
off. 55 years ago.
He was 55 years old.
Colonel Sanders.
There you go. They're all, and has nothing to do with age, has nothing to do with time. It has to do with yourself saying, I've got my own personal, I'm going to secure myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Salary does not equate to security.
Yeah.
It does not. It's convenient. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's convenient.
It is very convenient. And, sales is all about, determination. I have one thing to say about sales that I've been trying to get out. People only buy things from people that they like. Mm-hmm. And if anybody's listening to this, that's the main message about sales. You're never going to buy something off somebody if you don't like that person. Yep. It's as simple as that.
Yep. It really is. It's like, if I think of every transaction I ever made, you have competitors in the space. It's like, I like this person. Yeah. Something about them, right?
He's going to take care of me. I trust him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just as simple. Let people like you. Be honest. Be genuine. Be kind. Follow the 10 Commandments. You'll be okay. It's in the Bible. Just follow that step, and you'll be good.
Okay, so I've kind of struggled with this, and maybe you have too. So being in sales, being in a position where you're making good money, mm-hmm. you're doing good things. I went to go see Chris Williamson like last month in Toronto. He's more of like a modern day philosopher. I don't know if you followed his podcast.
I actually haven't, but I'm going to look him up.
He was talking about how happiness isn't on the other side of your next accomplishment. Mm-hmm. And I just thought that was amazing. Do you struggle with that, about setting these goals, thinking that, if I get to there, if I do that, if I sell this guy, if I get this client,
yes.
If I'm in this group of people, that will be.
So I remember, back to, 23 working, I remember meeting a business owner, and his business was making $300,000 a year. And I thought it was like, wow. Like, I'm 24 years old. I'm making 80 grand a year. I was like, wow.
It's a lot of money.
I was like 300,000 a year, right? And then I started a business, and I got to that level like relatively quickly. I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then I meet another business owner making 700,000 a year. And I was like, wow. When I get to 700, like, wow.
Things are really going to change.
Get to 700. And I'm like, what the fuck? It still feels like I'm only making 80 grand a year.
Yeah.
And then I meet a guy who's making, 1.5 million. I'm like, wow. And that guy's just as broke as I am.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm like, hold on. It's to your point. It's not always. And then I meet a guy who's making 10 million a year, and he's still counting the dollars. I'm like, what's? And then I meet a guy I remember this. We were actually at Nico's, great restaurant, and I'm sitting with this gentleman, and he's now retired. He's got more money than God. And he was telling me, he's like, he's been running his business. He was 20. He's close to 70 now. He's like, I had money in my bank account by the time when I was 60, I started collecting. But up until then, it was zero.
It was all back into his business?
He was like, I had no money in my account. My businesses were making 50 million a year, but it was going back, going to the employees first, going to the overhead of the facilities and the business next, going to the government for taxes. Once in a while, he bought himself a couple things to enjoy, whatever. But, relatively, he's like, the account was zero my whole entire career. And the big win was at the end when he had all his assets. And then now he's saying, okay, I'm done. Let's sell this business. Yeah. Let's sell this asset, sell all this. And that's when he's harvesting the fruits of his labor.
That was his place of control, I bet. Because if he sees the zero, it's going to push him to work.
And I could relate to it. It's like, I'm always like, if I've got an extra $200,000 of profit in the bank right now, right away, I'm like, where can I reinvest it? Because I know going back to sales, going back to, running a business, if I have extra capital to invest, I know that return on investment. Mm-hmm. I know I could turn that 200 to $1 million.
Yeah.
I know I could.
It's a calculated risk for sure.
It's a constant calculated risk to
Yeah.
a certain extent. It's like, okay, you know what, 200, I could hire 2 employees to do this, this, and this, frees up my time. I have more time now because I have an 8-month-old baby I could spend there, and I could hire that one amazing salesperson I've been wanting to get, and that guy could bring in more revenue. And you start making these plays with that extra money. Like for you, if you had an extra $200,000 that ends up on your lap, I guarantee you're not going to spend it all on a vacation. You're going to take most of it, and you're going to say, what could I do to make my business make me more money?
Yeah.
Right.
So I kind of like I've been trying to spread it around a little bit. I was heavily invested in real estate and kind of got out of that when the dip, but I've slowly been trying to dabble back in.
Sure. But you're investing again. So you're banking, you don't want that money sitting there. You're spending it on something to,
for sure.
It's not just that immediate, that big fancy bag, but to your point, you're saying it's not it's not always prettier on the other side, especially if you're unfulfilled. You know, success, this sentence comes from Tony Robbins himself. It's not mine, so I'm not claiming it, but I will repeat it because I'm a student of his. Success, how does he say it? Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. The ultimate failure. You could be as successful you want in the world. If you're miserable, what the hell was the point of the whole thing? I would much rather hang out with a guy who's worth not even 10 grand. He's worth 10 grand, but the happiest person in the world, and he's lovable and likable, and he's not miserable, and everything's fantastic. Versus the guy who's worth 100 million that's absolutely miserable. Who would you rather sit in the room with and have a conversation?
And I'm like low key jealous of people like that, you know, because I feel like I have like quite the appetite for more, and it's really nice to see people that are content, and that's not a knock on anybody that's, you know, working a 9 to 5 and has a family and doing what they need to do.
You know who are the ones that I see are just have it perfect, and I get a tear in my eye every time I see them. Like an 80 or 90-year-old, like a 90-year-old like grandma or grandpa. You ever see that, like a sweet old lady that they're sitting in their home on their couch? They're just the happiest people when their family come over.
Yeah.
Like you could just tell they're just like, they got nothing in the world. It's like, I've been through it. I've been through World War II.
Yeah.
I've been through the Korean War.
Yeah.
I've been through the Cuban Missile Crisis.
2008.
I've been through JFK's assassination. I've been through all those. Like, this is nothing.
Yeah.
They're just. I'm happy with my family, happy with my home. They got a cat.
Yeah.
And they're like,
for sure.
Every time I'm with them, I'm like, tell me more. Like, you are the happiest person I've ever seen. And every time they're like, what matters the most is the family.
For sure.
The friends, the love that you have around you. Everything else is just noise.
And I think like that has a lot to do with business. Like I think like when I hear people talk like that, and I've met, you know, my grandparents were like that, and you don't really, like, growing up, you don't really understand what they're saying. I think my interpretation of it was that it's very important to have family. I never understood the why until recently, and the why is that these things keep you grounded. These things like help you in business, and they help you with how they, like, you pick the wrong woman, your life could be very, very difficult. You pick the right woman, it's very different. I think that's why family is very important.
I know your woman. You picked a fantastic girl. Fantastic girl.
Thank you. Yeah,
And,
she's
and
great.
I know what she's cooking. So So I can't wait. I'm just a few months ahead of you. I can't wait for you. The moment you hear, by the way, you know the gender or not yet?
No, we're not finding out yet.
Whatever your gender is, when your child laughs, that first laugh, you'll never forget it. And you'll realize nothing in the world matters. Nothing. Just yesterday, I was going to, I was actually on my way. I dropped off my wife and my son, 5 o'clock. I said, I got to go to this networking event, 5:30. It was for Windsor Construction Association. Paid ticket, the whole thing. I'm on my way. I'm halfway up. And I said, what the hell am I doing, man? I don't give a shit. I turned around. And I went back home. I'm like, I just want to be with my son.
For
like,
sure.
I don't care what. For one, I'll see them later.
Like
your priorities change. Whereas a year ago, I'm like, sell, go, network. I'm like, nope. That night yesterday, I was in the mood. I said, I'm like, I just want to be with my son.
For sure.
That's it.
And there's some guys that think that's crazy. I'm more leaning on the side of like family's very important. Where there's some, you know, Mr. Wonderful and all these guys talk about stuff like that, saying like, you know, you pretty much have to push your family off to the side, which I don't agree with that at all.
I don't agree with it. But I am the driver. So here's the thing. I initially had planned to take my son with me to this event, but when we got to the house, her parents were there.
Okay.
And then I felt bad. I felt bad to take they were there to see him. So I was like, So to the point is that I want the hustle. I had the full intention on going there, staying
sure.
until 8, 9 o'clock. But I said, you know what? Why do I have to sacrifice my family? I would bring my son. A lot of people know my son. You met him.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll bring him everywhere.
For sure.
I literally will take him everywhere. So I've gone to literally client meetings. I know I'm going to quote them 50 grand, and I'm bringing my son. And guess what? My son brings me a blessing.
Yeah,
Your
of course.
child will bring you a blessing.
I can't wait. It's going to be
You know
amazing.
why? Because people like me more when they actually see who I am genuinely.
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
There's a guy I've been trying to get him to join my company for 3 years. And I flew him in. He's from the States, very high level guy in my industry. I'm like, dude, I want you here. Didn't pull the trigger. Even when he came, we spent the first day together. We went out drinking, all this stuff, whatever. He was still on the fence because he tells me this afterwards. On the last day, on his way here, what I decided, I said, I'm bringing my son. I want him to meet him. And he watched me play with my son in the office.
Mm-hmm.
And right there in that moment, he said, I'm quitting my job tomorrow. And I was like, why? Like, I was like, what the hell happened? You were on the fence. Like, he's like, I saw you who you are right there when I saw you with your son.
Yeah.
So my point is that don't separate your family. As a matter of fact, the more people, the world needs to see more people with their family everywhere, in business, in life, in every aspect. It's not separate. It's all together. It's all together. And that will bring the biggest gift because people respect people that are not afraid to bring their family out everywhere they go and be proud of their family.
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
it's just being genuine at the end of the day, for sure.
But look at divorce rates in this country. It's pretty astronomically high.
For sure.
It's above 50%. I know it is.
Yeah, it's like 57% or something.
57%, meaning more than 1 in 2 families will break up. That wasn't the case many years ago. Family oriented, right? And for me, I said, I don't want to fall in that stat. So why am I going to live a life where my wife's a lawyer and I'm doing my business and we're living separate lives and then we come together to just have dinner on every single day and say hi to the kids? Like, no, why don't we include every one of them? So I'm like, for me, I was like, okay, my wife has an office in our office and our son goes to work with us and does all this. So everyone has their own circumstance. They have to figure out what the message is. You could have it all. Like, why not? Or at least try. Why don't you try to have it all rather than just picking one?
I mean, you only have one life. So if you're going to sit around and be scared to take that step into, a sales job or to have a kid, I mean, mistakes are where the money's made, You learn more. You'll learn more from any mistake. Like 2 years ago, I had this, which I thought was the best deal ever. I bought this condo, pre-construction.
Yeah.
And I ended up having to sell my watch. And just to float this thing to get it done. And I learned so much about like leveraging myself and like my tolerance with investments than I ever did when I thought everything was good. Yeah. And where I could place myself and where I could be. And I again, the mistakes you make, you're gonna learn a lot more from. Sure.
I'll tell you, a tip to anyone who's selling life insurance. I've had life insurance agents trying to sell me a policy my whole life.
I just got into one.
Bro, so did I.
You have to.
Why did you just get into one?
Because, man, you got to watch out for the kid.
There you go. So the perfect, if I was selling life insurance, my only target will be men who are about to have children or just had a kid.
Absolutely.
I just picked up. I was like, give me the maxed out policy. I want it all. I'm going to make sure this kid's taken care of.
Did you like term policy?
I did. I'm going to get like 4 policies actually. I just learned of a different one. So I got one that's 20 years. I can't say how much because my wife has a motive now to get rid of me. So, I've got one as safety. I met someone that was in Pittsburgh the other week and he told me, he's like, this is how the wealthy do it. They get life insurance policies on the kid. So I'm going to get a life insurance policy on my son because
he'll have
pay into value. That. He'll have the cash value. By the time he's 20, anything, God forbid, happen to him, I get the money before he's 18. Anything after that goes to whoever his beneficiary is. But
he could
loan against it. So by the time he's 18, my $20 a month paying into this policy 18 years from now is going to be a gift for him when it's time. It's like, hey, you know what? Here's where you can get your money for your first home.
Yeah, exactly. You can also do that using company money, right?
Absolutely. There's many different ways. So I'm like, okay, there's a few different angles, right? But I'm like, I'm not trying to spend $1,000, $2,000 a month on insurance policies yet, but we could get into it for sure.
I guess a couple more things is let's say you're in sales and you're making some good money. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to spread it around too. Get that life insurance policy because things come and go. You know what I mean? If you have that soft month or if you have that soft year, you need supplementary income, and I think that's very, very important. I think that's why a lot of business owners or salespeople, they invest in real estate, they invest in silver. I'm big into silver right now. I think it's it's undervalued, and I kind of bought into it, and I believe it. So I think spreading yourself around, investing.
There's a gentleman by the name of Mike
Piccioni. Shout out to Mike Piccioni.
Great friend of mine. He's a great customer too, but fantastic.
Yeah, same here.
I texted him. I tried getting a hold of him today. I was like, dude, I'm doing a podcast. I need somebody.
yeah. I could talk to Mike forever. He's a great guy. So
he's fantastic.
I'm gonna cut this and send it to you, Mike. So
yes, we're sending this to Mike. He gives it. It's a referral source. So he got me into silver too, and he was right. It went up. Since I bought it, it's doubled in value.
Yeah.
And he's buying like crazy.
Yeah, he is.
He's like, nope, keep buying. He's
definitely he's not just selling something that he's not buying himself. He's out purchasing all of us. So
yes.
I just went back and bought more, and the same thing. Like he's and everybody, like all my buddies, and like I like to, like, if something's happening, if I'm buying real estate, I'm always trying to listen to what my buddies are doing and also try and help them. And nobody listened to me on the silver thing, and they missed out on some big money there.
But there's still room. No,
there's lots of room.
Got into silver a few years ago, and silver is, what the biggest value for an immediate value for me was with silver is silver was a place where, like, there was times, again, commission based, business. There was times where it's like, okay, cash is running low, but I have to be, I'm playing around with money. Silver was a place where it protected money that I could have spent it on some dumb shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Like once you buy it physically, now you got to go and get it, pick up this freaking chunk of this block. Then you got to drive to Mike.
Yeah.
And then it's like, it's too much work.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, just leave this. And mentality wise, it's my investment. It's an investment.
So you leave it with him?
There. No, I have it at home, but I buried it far, far, far away. So, because I'm like, that way I don't get to it. I don't want to get to it because it protects my money. Because if it was in the bank, it's easy to say, oh yeah, we got an extra 10 grand sitting there. Let's go on a vacation.
Yeah, I forgot about mine too.
It's you said it, forget it. It's there one day when it's time. We go to get it. But it's definitely from the immediate. It's protected me from spending unnecessary amounts, and it's just sitting there getting protected. So I like that, and of course, it's value going up. And at the end of the day, it's real money. So no, I love it. Yeah, we're gonna end this talking about Mr. Mike Piccioni. But no, you know what? It's good. It was a good conversation. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you are an entrepreneur that is serious about building your team with the right people, I'm very glad that we met. At the end of the day, bringing in the wrong people could really hurt your business and could potentially bankrupt your business, and bringing the right people in could potentially make you a multi-millionaire, if not a billionaire. Having a strong team is so critical to the success of every single company, and I'm proud to say at CPG Recruitment and myself, I want to work with you. We are experts at really designing the ideal candidates, recruitment strategy, interview process, specifically for your business to make sure that your business is building teams with the right people. I want you to get a hold of us by going to cpgincorporated.com, or even simply just commenting on any one of our videos. I've got team members watching every single piece of content that we release, that if you need the help, all you got to do is comment below or reach out directly to us at cpgincorporated.com, where we have our phone numbers there and our calendars to just book a call, and we're here to serve you, to help you build your team with the right people.